Let's also tell you that stakeholders in Nigeria have urged the newly sworn-in ministers to get down to the business of governance. On Monday, President Bola Tinubu swore in 45 ministers who were earlier cleared by the Senate. The inauguration was held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. The ministers were sworn in batches, but were all inaugurated on Monday. Let's have a quick discussion on this. We're joined by Oludare Akinlaja, a management consultant. Thank you so much, Oludare, for your time here. Now, most of the ministers are not new to government positions, having held various roles before now. How much will this factor in as far as their performance is concerned?
I think thank you for having me first of all. The desires of the Nigerian people are clearly on the table, and I think that's what is important and that's what's paramount. They must understand that the Nigerian people need them to deliver. They need them to work. They need them to get things done. I'm not of the school of thought of people who have held office before, people who have, because we have had them in different shapes and in different shades, and we have seen those who have performed, who have not performed, who are, but the truth is, what can they do to alleviate the pressure or the things that the Nigerian people are going through? That's what we want them to do. Some have started talking tough already. Some have started to say this is what they want to do. But I think what is most important is they must understand that politics and governance is not what it used to be. You are now in the public eye and you'll be publicly scrutinized.
Indeed. So let's talk about what they can do. We know one of the problems observed over time in governance in Africa, but in this context, Nigeria, is the disconnect between those within the corridors of power and the realities on the ground. So in telling them what to do, how do you think that these ministers can remain fully in touch with the reality of the masses?
So I'm going to say this here. The truth is, nobody is actually not in touch with what is happening with the masses.
Interesting.
The challenge is some people don't just either have the political will or are just carried away with playing politics and not governance. So they make decisions based off either selfish interest for themselves or for a particular group of people. You see, you will be shocked that most politicians are even as up to date than you can imagine. But most of those decisions are either selfishly done or taken in the interest of just a small group of people and not in the interest of the general populace. So I think when we keep giving the excuse that they are disconnected, they are not. It's just the platform upon which they are making all of their decisions have nothing to do with the society or with a larger group of people. Might just be a small sector of people or even themselves that is the trigger behind most of the decisions they make.
I see. So, I mean, how then are they held accountable for, based on what you've said, the neglect of their duties once they get into office? So let's discuss some M&E. How can this administration ensure that, ministers are evaluated based on their KPIs and are delivering on their mandates?
The first thing is this. We can't even track those KPIs because we even have nothing to track. Where's the data? Where's the data? Dr. Yemi Kale, the former Director General of the National Bureau of Statistics, it helped us to a large extent to even determine the trajectory of the country. But what I like with what is happening now, what I'm excited about, is that there's always a silver lining, and which is social media, data sharing, knowledge sharing, has made it difficult for people to just do random things. Okay, you can imagine how much things we have heard since the advent of social media. Imagine what happened in the dark days. Okay, so I think that the fact that there's social media where data is shared, knowledge is shared, information is shared, I think we will be able to hold them accountable based on the things they have said and what is currently happening. For instance, if you are the minister of a certain agency, there are agencies under you that are being monitored based off either data or their impact on the community, which can readily be gotten even from social media or from the internet. So you are in the spotlight right from get-go.
So let's talk about the future of Nigeria in the hands of these ministers. What areas of policies and initiatives do you expect the government to focus on to better turn the fortunes of the country around?
Beautiful. I heard a former British Prime Minister say when the former President Buhari got into office, he said, can a Nigerian president just focus on one sector and get it done? If you focus on power and say your administration wants to hit 85% in the power sector, okay, and make it the pillar, just pick three areas: education, health, power. Education, health, power, and begin to drive it. Okay, look at the education system, look at funding, look at the curriculum. What are our children learning? The educational system is not preparing our children for anything, okay, in the future. Health, how can you get more people into health insurance? How can you get more people access to primary health care? What do we need to unbundle to make healthcare accessible? Looking at power, the president just signed something as soon as he entered, allowing states to generate. How are we looking at that? How is power going to be accessible? How is power going to be available? Let's just pick three core pillars. I'm not saying we ignore others, but let's pick three core things and say, can we hit 85% in these three things and get maybe 60% in the others, and I can give my administration a
Right.
pass mark for the
So,
first
so,
step.
let- so let's talk about one of those pillars that you have mentioned, education.
Yeah,
We know the
yeah,
concerns of the sector in Nigeria. There are
yeah.
strikes hanging on the necks of these teacher associations. We know that there are over 20 million out of school children in Nigeria. What
Yeah.
should the minister in charge focus on to address the immediate challenges, the current challenges, and ensure a sustainable growth path in Nigeria?
What first thing, very important, take politics out of education. Take politics out of education. Okay? There are different states in Nigeria with different interests, with different needs that can grow at their pace. We are saddled with a top down system that is affecting states that can easily push forward, okay, in their educational system. I don't want to talk about other intricacies with education, but just look at the framework that determines our educational system. It is not working. Our curriculums are not working, yet we are converting polytechnics to universities. We are converting college of educations to universities. We are taking our technical schools. There's a lot we can talk about. Curriculum, opening more technical schools, making sure that primary school children, if you want to have free education, let our primary, at least our primaries and secondary schools can have subsidized education. In fact, our subsidized education should be at early child education. So
I
if the
see.
children in primary and secondary schools can go to school free at highly subsidized rate, then going forward can be a decision of their own. That's my belief, it's my opinion, and I think these are the things the minister should begin to look at. The framework on what determines what our educational system is built on. It is currently not working.
On the subject of security, how is
Yeah.
the government expected to enhance national security, but also curb the escalating threat of cyber fraud in the digital economy space, given that digital economy is one of the key areas for the Tinubu administration?
First of all, I'm very excited that our good friend Dr. Bosun Tijani is current minister. So he is in that space. I'm excited because he understands what it's about. So I won't preempt. I trust. I trust that taking his years in technology, building technology companies, building and all that, playing in that space, he understands the limitation and he has the ears of a lot of people who are in that space. I don't want to mention names of people who we have all built and all worked together at some point. So I'm sure he has the listening ears and he knows what we must be paying attention to. Cybersecurity, also for the security generally of the country. I think that people are clamoring for state police, and they have every reason to. But I also think that our security system must begin to look for other ways of ensuring security, community
Right.
policing, neighborhood policing. We must begin to look at these things. I know as a system, we might not be able to trust, okay, because it's an issue of trust, really. Okay. Do we want to unbundle and allow certain people to manage certain security apparatus at their level? But we are in a situation now where we cannot shy away from that.
Very well.
We need things like neighborhood policing and community policing to ensure most of our security threats are dealt with.
Oludare, there's much more to talk about, but we'll leave it here for now. Exciting times
Okay.
ahead. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for your
very much.
time. Oludare
Thank you for
Akinlaja is a
having me.
management consultant. We've been talking about the recently sworn in ministers for the Tinubu administration.